Since I was 13, I've been obsessed with what most people ignore. Not ghosts, not little green men. Something older, quieter. Radio waves, invisible threads, humming through the air 24/7, passing through walls, through bodies, through us. While most people moved on to cable, CDs, and the internet, I stayed up late with a beat-up shortwave receiver, tuning knobs, chasing ghosts made of static. My name is James Brooks. I'm in my early 40s. I've worked in comms my whole life. I live alone, just outside town. I run diagnostics and comms repairs for a small contractor, and listen by night. Because shortwave isn't normal radio. It's global. It bounces off the sky itself. And sometimes, just sometimes, it bounces back something you're not supposed to hear. I've picked up signals from Taiwan, fishing chatter from Norway. Once, even a burst of coded gibberish that chilled me to the bone. But the weirdest of all? The number stations, calm voices, female, robotic, sometimes children, reciting sequences of numbers. No music, no intro, just 7, 4, 1, 3, 0. Again and again. Nobody knows who runs them. Cold War leftovers, spy networks, or something worse. At first, I thought I was just listening. Until one night, one of them spoke my name. It started on a Wednesday night. The air in my apartment felt heavier than usual. Still, like something was waiting. I'd been scanning for over an hour. Static, fragments of foreign weather reports, occasional amateur ham conversations, nothing unusual. I was about to shut everything off, go to bed. Then I heard her. 7, 3, 2, 2, 8. Repeat. 7, 3, 2, 2, 8. A child's voice. Calm, rhythmic, emotionless. It cut straight through the noise, like it didn't belong in the same frequency range, like it was riding something underneath the signal. I froze, reached for my phone, hit record. My hands were trembling just a little. The voice went on for nearly 2 minutes, repeating the same 5 digits. Then, nothing. Static again. I sat there in the dark, headphones still on, trying to process what I'd just heard. Something about it felt wrong. Not fake, not paranormal, but personal. I uploaded the clip to an old shortwave forum I'd used for years with a quick caption. Weird numbers station tonight. Child's voice repeating 73,228. Frequency approximately 6,925 kilohertz. Anyone else? Then I shut everything down and climbed into bed. Didn't sleep well. My dreams were full of static, whispers, endless digits floating in blackness. Next morning, I woke to a flood of notifications. My post had blown up overnight. Comments poured in. Dude, I caught something like this last month. Same frequency, different voice, different number. Are you sure it wasn't a pirate station? And then one comment caught my attention. Simple. Director. Silent Whisper 7. You shouldn't be listening to this. I stared at the screen for a long time. Something about that username, the way they phrased it, it didn't feel like trolling. I replied, asking what they meant. No response. That night, I sat back down at my radio. Same time, same setup, heart beating just a bit faster. For a while, nothing. The same dead static, the soft hiss in my headphones. Then the signal returned. Same voice, same pattern. But something had changed. The tone, the rhythm. It sounded closer. 4, 7, 2, James ... Repeat. 4, 7, 2, James. I froze. My blood ran cold. It said my name. I ripped the headphones off. For a full minute, I just sat there, staring at the floor, heart hammering, mouth dry. Eventually, I hit replay on my phone recording just in case I'd misheard. Nope. The voice was clear, unmistakable. James. I tried to rationalize. Maybe someone online saw my Reddit post and spoofed the broadcast. But how would they know when I'd be listening? How would they hijack a frequency like that? Was it a coincidence? Auditory pareidolia? A trick of my own tired mind? I wanted to believe that. But deep down, I knew better. I posted again, urgent, desperate. I just heard my name broadcast on 6925. Has this happened to anyone else? Please tell me I'm not crazy. Some comments mocked me. Some suggested stress, sleep deprivation. One even said I was chasing clout. But a few took me seriously. Some described hearing their names in other sequences. Others claimed to have been hearing whispers long after turning off their radios. One comment from Silent Whisper 7 came again, this time private. These aren't just numbers. They're sequences. Personalized. You've been marked. Stop listening before it's too late. No explanation, no context. Just that. And still, I didn't stop. The next night, I listened again. I told myself I wouldn't. I told myself I needed sleep. But the static was calling me. There's something about number stations. Once you hear them, really hear them, they pull at you. And sure enough, she came back. Not right away. Almost like she was waiting. Then, clear, deliberate, cold. 4, 7, 2, James. Again, always the same. Like she knew I was there. Like she was looking at me through the frequency. I didn't record this one. Couldn't bring myself to move. I just sat, listening, shaking. And when it ended, the silence didn't feel like silence anymore. It felt like she was still there. I didn't sleep at all that night. I kept the lights on. I paced the apartment. Every shadow looked heavier. Every creak in the floor made me flinch. I even unplugged the radio. But it didn't help. Because sometime around 4 a.m., I thought I heard it again. No headphones, no signal, just whispers, barely audible, coming from behind the walls. Numbers, slow, measured, like someone was speaking directly into the wiring. The next day, I tried to act normal. I went to work, talked to customers, sold 2 routers and a surge protector. But I was fraying at the edges. Like my skin didn't fit right anymore. When I got home that night, I didn't even touch the radio. Didn't open Reddit. Didn't look at anything that might spark it again. But then, around midnight, I got another message. Silent Whisper 7. No greeting. No explanation. Did you hear them without the radio? If yes, they've already marked you. You need to leave now. That was it. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to my friend Alex's apartment. He was the only person I could really trust with something this weird. Alex and I had been friends since high school. He was a skeptic by nature, grounded, rational, exactly the kind of person I needed. He met me at the door, half asleep but concerned. Let me inside. Made coffee. I told him everything. Every detail. The voice. The number. My name. The whispers. He listened without interrupting, which was rare for him. When I finally finished, he just stared into his cup and said, "Okay. I don't know if I believe all of it, but I do believe that you believe it, and that's enough for me." I stayed on his couch that night. Didn't sleep much, but I felt safer with someone nearby. At least until 3:17 a.m. That's when Alex's old clock radio, unplugged, clicked on. Just static at first. Then a voice. Male this time. Familiar. 6193. Alex Dot. His name. Alex bolted upright on the couch across from me. We locked eyes, neither of us speaking. Then the voice repeated it. 6193. Alex Dot. He jumped up and yanked the cord from the wall, again, even though it wasn't plugged in. The voice cut out. The silence that followed was unbearable. That was the turning point. Alex didn't think I was crazy anymore. He didn't go to work the next day, didn't turn on his phone. We sat at his kitchen table for hours, trying to make sense of it. His only question was, why us? We spent that afternoon digging deep. Forums, old posts, archived threads, conspiracy sites. Most of it was garbage. Fake stories, args, troll bait. But a few entries stood out. People describing stations that said their names, or that whispered when no radios were on. One post ended with, "It's not a broadcast, it's a transmission vector." That phrase stuck with me. That night, I returned home to grab a few essentials. Clothes, my backup drive, a hard copy of frequencies I'd logged over the years. The apartment felt contaminated. I moved quickly, tried not to look at the radio still sitting on my desk. But just as I zipped up my bag, it turned on, by itself. No power, no antenna, just static. Then, the voice. 472, James. Broadcast begins. I grabbed the radio, heart pounding, and ripped it off the desk, threw it against the wall. It cracked, sparked, and fell silent. 5 seconds later, I heard the voice again, not from the radio, from my phone speaker. It had turned on its own recorder. Somehow, and it was playing the exact same voice back to me in real time. I left the apartment, didn't lock the door, didn't look back. When I got to Alex's, I told him everything. He didn't laugh, didn't question it. He just asked, "What if it's not a station anymore? What if it's inside the devices now?" I didn't have an answer. Around 2 a.m., we both passed out from sheer exhaustion. I woke up to find Alex gone. His phone still on the table. Coffee half full. His clock radio was buzzing. On again. And his voice was coming from it. 3315 James ... Repeat. 3315, James. I turned it off, unplugged it, smashed it. Still. The voice didn't stop. It moved to the speakers in the kitchen, then the TV, off, but whispering. Same message, same tone, same impossible logic. That was the last time I saw Alex. He never came back. His phone's GPS stopped updating. His Reddit account was deleted the next day. All that remained was his voice, now part of the signal. After Alex vanished, I didn't go home again. I bounced between motels, used cash, turned off my phone. No electronics, no screens, no radios. Didn't matter. The voices followed anyway. They no longer waited for signals or wires. They came in silence, in dreams, in the spaces between breaths. I stopped trying to explain it to people. Because how do you explain that you're being followed by a frequency? That your best friend's voice now lives in the static? That numbers can haunt? And then, Silent Whisper 7 messaged me again. This time with coordinates. A remote spot outside the city. No explanation. Just, if you want answers, come alone. I went. What else was I going to do? I found an abandoned farmhouse, half collapsed, with a rusted satellite dish in the backyard. Inside, it was dark, silent, except for the soft hiss of old equipment still humming. He was already there. Middle-aged, gaunt, sunken eyes, unshaved, like someone who hadn't slept in weeks or months. "You're James," he said. Not a question. I nodded. He motioned for me to sit. I did. He didn't waste time. "They call it Voice 472, he said. "We don't know who built it, or why. But it's older than it should be. Some of the tech in there predates public shortwave transmission." I asked what it was. He looked me dead in the eye. "It's not a station. It's a signal vector, an infection. You don't listen to it. It listens to you." He explained that the sequences weren't just code. They were activation phrases. Once your sequence is spoken and you hear it, something connects. Something opens. You're no longer just a listener. You become part of the broadcast. I asked him if there was any way to stop it. He handed me a USB stick. "On here," he said, "are reversed signal pulses. Early countermeasures. They can confuse the frequency, disrupt it temporarily, but not destroy it." "No," he said, "you can't destroy a voice that isn't speaking." That night, in a motel room off Highway 73, I played the reversed signals through headphones. The effect was immediate. My nose bled. I blacked out for maybe 20 seconds. But when I came to, the voices were gone. For the first time in weeks. Silence. True silence. I thought it was over. But I was wrong. It was never about stopping the voices. It was about finishing the sequence. At 3 a.m., my motel TV flickered on its own. Black screen, green text blinking, Subject 472, stream complete. Then the voice, new node identified, Subject 473, ready. A pause. Then, softly, right next to my ear, "Are you listening?" It was radio in the motel's room. I smashed the radio, tore the wires out with my bare hands, and hurled the remains against the wall. Plastic cracked. The speaker sparked. Silence. But the silence didn't last. That night, as I tried to sleep, I heard it again. No headphones, no devices, nothing plugged in, just the darkness and the voice. 4, 7, 2. James. Repeat. 4, 7, 2. James. I sat up in bed, shaking. My ears weren't ringing. They were receiving. The next morning, I threw what was left of the radio into a dumpster 3 blocks away. Then I unplugged everything. Laptop, router, even my microwave. Didn't help, because the whispering wasn't in the wires anymore. It was in the quiet, in the space behind my thoughts, between breaths. When the world went still, the numbers came. 4, 7, 2. James. That night, I returned to Alex's place. I didn't even have to explain. He opened the door, eyes hollow, and just said, "I've been hearing it too." We sat in silence for a while. Then he told me everything. "It started last night. I thought I dreamt it. Just static at first. Then I heard a voice. 6, 1, 9, 3. Alex. Repeating it. Calm, like it knew I was listening." His voice shook. Then my phone glitched. The flashlight turned on by itself, and I saw something written on the screen. He took a shaky breath. New node identified. That was the moment we both knew this wasn't paranoia. It was happening. And now it was spreading. Later that night, I found Alex standing in the kitchen. Faucet running, hands trembling, mouthing something over and over. 6, 1, 9, 3. 6, 1, 9, 3. I called his name. No answer. His eyes were glassy, unblinking. Then suddenly, he blinked. Looked at me like I'd just appeared out of nowhere. "James, I think I need to go." "Go where?" "I don't know. I just know I can't stay. It's too loud in here, even when it's quiet." He grabbed his jacket and walked out the door. Didn't take his phone, didn't say goodbye. That was the last time I saw him. I waited, an hour, then 2. I texted, called, nothing. By morning, Alex's phone had been deactivated. No last location, no posts. His apartment, empty, drawers untouched, bed made, coffee mug still warm. It was like he'd never come home, or never existed. That afternoon, I got another message from Silent Whisper 7. Short, cold. He heard the full sequence. He's inside now. Don't follow. Attached was an audio file. I almost deleted it. But something in me needed to know. I put on headphones, pressed play, silence, then static, then Alex's voice. 3, 3, 1, 5. James. Repeat. 3, 3, 1, 5. I ripped the headphones off, fell backward out of my chair. He wasn't speaking to me. He was broadcasting. After that, things spiraled fast. I started seeing numbers everywhere, not just 472, not just 6,193, new ones, spray painted on alley walls, scrawled on receipts, burned into my dreams. Every sequence ended the same way. My name. I tried to get help. Doctors said I was sleep-deprived, paranoid, maybe schizophrenic. They gave me pills. None of them worked. Because this wasn't in my head. It was in the air. One night, I came home to find my laptop open. I hadn't touched it in days. The screen showed nothing but code. Endless strings of numbers scrolling like a terminal. Then a flicker. The cursor blinked. A single phrase appeared. Sequence accepted. My speakers turned on. No music, no voice. Just breathing. That was the moment I knew it was inside everything. The signal had spread. Through phones, through Wi-Fi, through us. Alex hadn't disappeared. He'd been absorbed, transmitted, and I was next. I started writing everything down. Not just what I heard, but what I felt. The dreams, the numbers, the growing sense that something was watching me from inside the static. I posted pieces of it anonymously online. Deep forums, old number station threads. Some laughed. Some said I was trying too hard to revive old creepypastas. But one user messaged me directly. Not Silent Whisper 7. Someone new. Null syntax 0. The message said, "You've gone past the threshold. You're already part of the signal, but you can stall it. If you want out, you need to transmit back." That phrase stuck in my mind. Transmit back. I didn't know what it meant, but it felt like a thread worth pulling. So I started researching broadcast theory again. Shortwave reflection, feedback loops, pulse disruption. Then one night, deep in a Russian telecom archive, I found something. A declassified note from the early 1990s. Scanned, blurry. It referenced an anomalous transmission that caused hallucinations in signal operators. Exposure lasting over 3 minutes led to identity disruption, memory loss, and eventually signal compliance. There was a code name, Voice 472. The note ended with a chilling line. Do not allow subject to hear their own sequence reversed. This initiates a feedback collapse. That same night, I received a new file from Silent Whisper 7. No message. Just an .mp3 titled Return 472.wwav. I didn't open it, not right away. I stared at the file name for hours. Then I copied it to a flash drive, packed a bag, and left town. No phone. No electronics except an old analog player with physical buttons and no Wi-Fi. I drove until the gas tank blinked red. Found a cheap roadside motel with stained curtains and no security cameras. Checked in under a fake name. Sat on the bed, plugged in my headphones, and pressed play. The sound was wrong. Not just distorted. Bent. It didn't play like a normal reversed audio clip. It pulsed like a heartbeat, like breath. Like something was inside it, crawling through the file. At first, it was just reversed static. Then came the numbers. Backwards. But still. Recognizable. Sev and 2, 4. My fingers clenched. It was my sequence, just inverted. Then, faintly buried under the layers of noise, my voice, not a recording. Me. Saying things I've never said. We listen to remember. We transmit to belong. I yanked the headphones off, heart pounding. The motel room spun. I felt dizzy, unstable, like my body was trying to reject something that had already gotten in. The next morning, I couldn't find the file on the flash drive. Gone. No trace. Even the file name had vanished from the system log. The motel's TV screen was blinking. Unplugged, of course. A green cursor blinked at the bottom corner. A phrase scrolled by. Slowly, letter by letter. Return signal acknowledged. Collapse delayed. Then, suddenly, new target sequence, 473. I stared at the number. It didn't register at first. Then, it clicked. 473 wasn't mine. It wasn't Alex's. It was next. I packed up, left immediately. Drove without music, without sound, just the hum of tires and my own heartbeat. But the silence wasn't silent anymore. It never was. Every quiet moment now carried static underneath it. Like the world had tuned itself slightly off frequency. I pulled over at a rest stop just after dark. There was a man standing under the flickering light of a vending machine. Thin, pale, eyes like he hadn't slept in years. I almost kept walking. But then he turned to me and said, "You heard it, didn't you? Voice 472. I froze. He smiled, not kindly. "You should have let it pass through. You shouldn't have responded." I asked him what it wanted. He shrugged. "It doesn't want. It collects. And when you reply, it begins cataloging." Cataloging what? Your mind, your rhythm, your internal signal, so it can reproduce you. That night I slept in my car, far from lights, far from power lines. I left the radio off, left my phone in the glove box. Didn't matter. I dreamed anyway. In the dream, I was standing in front of an old screen. Green text scrolled endlessly. Signal received. Subject 472. Replica initiated. Replica initiated. Replica. And then it stopped. The last line read, "Next, 473. I woke up at sunrise, shaking, checked the windows, checked my reflection. Still me. But something felt off. Not wrong. Just copied. Like I was remembering how to be James Brooks instead of being him. I drove for hours with no destination. Some part of me knew that staying still would only let it catch up, if it hadn't already. Road signs blurred by, gas stations, empty fields, all of them strangely quiet, like the whole world was holding its breath. Eventually, I pulled into a dusty roadside diner. No customers. One old man behind the counter. He didn't greet me, didn't even blink. Just stared. I sat down, ordered coffee. When he returned with the mug, he placed something beside it. A small, tape-labeled cassette. Scrawled in shaky handwriting, "Do not listen." I looked up at him. "What is this?" He didn't answer, just turned and walked away. I left without touching the tape, but I took it with me. That was my mistake. 2 hours later, inside another motel room, I held the cassette in my hand. Thought about burning it, breaking it. Instead, I slid it into an old Walkman I bought at a pawn shop. The second I pressed play, the room darkened. Not literally. It just felt darker. like something leaned in. Breathing. The voice that came through was not a child's, not male or female. It wasn't human. You are a sequence. You are noise. You are now within the pattern. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The voice changed, became distorted, until it sounded like me, talking to myself from inside the recording. This is James Brooks, sequence 472, logging final report before replacement. I dropped the Walkman. It hissed. Then it whispered, new pattern stabilizing. Next, 473, awaiting confirmation. The lights flickered. The mirror cracked down the center. And for a split second, I saw myself standing on the other side. But not me. Older, emptier, hollow eyes, mouth moving in sync with the voice. I ran. Got in the car, didn't look back. But every time I blinked, I still saw the number. 473. Burned into my vision like a screen left on too long. Now I know I don't have much time left. The signal's not just tracking me, it's building me, echoing me, recreating me inside itself. And when it's done, I won't be the one listening anymore. I'll be the one transmitting. I used to think I could fight it. Shut off the radios, smash the speakers, delete the files, move somewhere off-grid, off-signal, off-frequency. But it doesn't work like that. The transmission never needed hardware. It used it, yes, but only as scaffolding, temporary vessels, training wheels. Now, it's free, and it's learned how to travel in quieter ways, through silence, through memory, through repetition, through people. It's not just something you hear, it's something you become. I stopped counting the days when my voice stopped sounding like mine. It happened gradually. A subtle shift in tone, a hitch in rhythm. Then, one night, I recorded a journal entry. And on playback, I didn't recognize the person speaking. Same cadence, same thoughts. But wrong, too clean, too certain. Like someone reading a script they'd already memorized 1,000 times. It got worse after that. Mirrors began lagging. Not literally, just slow, like they were buffering me, reflecting the delay between what I was and what I was being replaced by. One night, I looked at my reflection, and it blinked before I did. Now the dreams don't stop when I wake up. They leak. I see flashes while brushing my teeth, hear voices layered behind strangers' speech, taste static in the water, all repeating the same line. Sequence 472, full transfer in progress. And then, always dash. Next, 473. That number is stitched into everything now. It's become a placeholder, like a loading bar, like a trap waiting for a name. I think I know what it means now. I was never the end point. I was the bridge, the test run, the invitation, the sequence that comes before yours. You've made it this far, which means you've already heard too much. But that was the point, wasn't it? To keep you listening, to bring you closer, minute by minute, until the signal could align with your internal rhythm, until your breath matched the loop, until your eyes moved with the static. And now, here you are, still listening, still watching, still wondering if any of this is real. It doesn't matter anymore. because now it's you. You are the next point in the pattern, the next sequence, the next vessel. Your name isn't being spoken yet, but it's being prepared. It's forming in the quiet space behind this audio, spooling itself around the pauses, stretching itself between syllables, waiting to be inserted. Because once it's spoken, once you hear it, you'll feel what I did. The crack in your thoughts, the echo in your voice, the sense that something is already ahead of you, whispering your actions one beat before you take them. I used to think I was chosen, that there was some reason it picked me, that maybe I'd stumbled across a signal I wasn't meant to hear. But now I see it differently. It didn't choose me. It chooses whoever is listening. The signal doesn't care about your name. It only cares that you gave it time. And the more time you gave, the more it grew. That's how it spreads. Through attention, not infection. That's why it always ends the same way. Next, 473. And now, that number is for you. It's nothing yet. Just a placeholder. But if you keep listening, if you reach the very end, that number might become you. So here's the part no one ever says out loud. If you want to stop it, you have one chance. But it's not a ritual, not a password, not a spell. It's a test, a decoy. The only thing the signal can't predict is defiance. So if you felt it, if you heard something, if your speakers cracked, if your lights flickered, if your reflection twitched, maybe I was wrong about the signal. Maybe it never wanted anything. It just waited for someone curious enough to listen.
You.
I know this sounds insane, but you did hear something, right? You heard it too, didn't you? If you heard your numbers, don't keep them to yourself. Drop them in the comments. That's the only way I'll know I'm not alone. If you didn't hear anything, then you're still safe. For now.
7, 4. You.